Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RE Lab. After a brief hiatus, we are excited to be back and better than ever with the rebooted DesignX RE Lab webinar. So welcome, everyone. Slightly refreshed slides, slightly refreshed content. We're excited to jump right back in. So, with that, let's go ahead and jump into this week's, the first week of the year. Well, it's not officially the first week of the year, but our first week. A consumer product. So, with that, I'll jump over to the next slide. So, you can see here, this is a very familiar industry to some of you out there. This is a fishing rod holder, and it's just a very interesting object to reverse engineer. And this has a lot of different applications. Scanning and reverse engineer parts like this can also make objects to adapt to different watercraft that this might be associated with, right? So you could print different components to mate to different types of boats. And in this instance, you can also print pieces that would then fit closer to different types of rods and reels as well. So this is just a really interesting part, and we figured we would jump right in with a consumer product this week and walk through how to reverse engineer a part like this. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So as usual, we always start out by just going over this slide, and I will pare it down as a lot of people are watching my webinar on a regular basis. I know that going over this slide could take a few minutes and it's redundant for you, but I just wanted to make sure that anybody that's watching this for the first time understands what DesignX is really quick before we dive into the application. But DesignX is this software right here. It's the software that we use. It is a software that can work with 3D scan data from a variety of different inputs from different devices like these over here on this side, from structured light scanners to laser to handheld laser structured light scanners, time of flight scanners, CT scanners even, all kinds of different devices. We're creating this type of data, and people were trying to load it inside of CAD, and we're struggling a lot because CAD wasn't designed for this type of information. Enter DesignX. We create this software that is a parametric CAD modeling kernel with a 3D scan kernel all in one space, right? So then we take this data, do the heavy lifting, and then we extract model information and output it in different sources like you see on the right-hand side, whether these are the high-level outputs. CAD is the primary, but we also go straight to CNC packages or straight to additive technologies out in the market. So that's what this DesignX product is all about. Grabbing that scan data, recreating or reverse engineering that object, and getting it out to whatever is going to produce that manufactured model. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump right into the DesignX portion. So here's today's final part. Go ahead and rotate it around so you can kind of see the approach here, the way it was modeled. Zoom in, zoom out. And let's go ahead and roll back and take a look at the scan. So we'll go all the way back here. Turn that scan on. So here is the scan. And you see that we scanned it all as one object. And you can use our software to disconnect the parts from each other. One way is to just, select all, copy and paste as a separate piece, and then delete pieces. So if I just copy and paste the entire piece and then come in and just like delete this piece, if I wanted this piece to be separate from that piece as well, I could just copy and paste and separate this and that. So then you can have these as separate meshes. That's not the way we did this specific one, but if you're working with a part like this and you want to reverse engineer them and keep them as separate objects, sometimes that's a good way to go too. And if you are going to separate them, you can then do an interactive alignment and realign parts. As you'll see with this here, we actually, after we modeled it, we moved this to a different position in order to print it. We used it, put it in a different location, and then printed it. And even if you didn't want to use the interactive alignment, you could use transform scan data, which transform scan data, you'll notice that it's grayed out there. This is just a little information for you. So if I just roll back farther, and we will just select all, copy, paste, and click on this one. You see nothing is associated with this mesh, so you can transform this one. That's one of the things about this one. Actually, if you roll back before the region group, I think that also does it too. That's what I was doing there. So transform scan data, if you ever see it grayed out, this is what I'm basically trying to show you here is roll forward one step to now the region groups are on it. Now you'll see transform, and it won't let you select that one, but it will let you select this one because this has a dependent region group. So that is just a life hack there, a little tip for you. So you can say, I want to move this or scale it or move it by a matrix there. But just a little tip there that you cannot do a transform scan data on something that has dependencies on it, like this having the region group. So just a little nice information there for you. If you ever get stuck, that's in that problem with that problem, then that is what it was. So let's go ahead and get rolling. So if I roll forward, you'll see here right out of the gate, it looks like we're going to start with this base here. They just did your typical mesh sketch like we've covered many times. And then here another mesh sketch and extrude in the other direction. And you'll see here if I just extrude or I just go to it, you can see what was done there. So I like to bring that up for people that maybe have not seen some stuff before. I sometimes repeat obvious pieces of functionality that just help people if it's their first time looking at one of these webinars. That's why I'll show redundant things there. So we go ahead and we shell that, and we shelled it. You see there, we selected it and then said to remove that bottom face. And now we're going to apply a couple fillets to that. You'll see here. And let's see where we go next. Okay, so now we're going to work on the inside and build out the internal. So we did an extrusion from the center plane out in both directions. Cut the hole through it. And go ahead and create the boss inside. And just for rule of thumb here, just a note, when you double click on this and go in it, you see that we did an up to, and we said up to body here, up to body. Just for people that have not done that before, that's a very good method to save multiple trims and doing something a long way. You hear it, so you're just saying extrude that down till it hits the CAD body and you are good to go. And then from there, we kept it as a separate body because we're going to build out a bunch of other components within this piece here. So you see here, we did another step of the boss and we merged those two together. Now, we created all of the ribs in one shot up to body, just like before. And then we're going to do a double mirror. So we're going to mirror this across one direction and then across in another direction, right? And then include these guys as well. And mirror, mirror on the wall. Now we're going to go ahead and fill out that center piece. And let's see where we go next. Boss, create some extra boss there. And we'll jump forward a few steps here. So we're going to go ahead now and revolve this guy. And cut it away from that piece here. So when I go to Boolean, let's just double check. Yeah, so they went ahead and with this Boolean, they basically took the tool body, this, and then this revolve body, and they cut away with it with this guy. Now, a few things you can do. They created a new piece here. You see how they just went ahead and grabbed the same sketch and re-extruded it to then use that as a cutting tool. Sometimes, here's another way to do it. If you just remember where we are right here, this Boolean cut, and you just roll back to that like original piece back here. If you wanted to just roll back, this is another way to do it. You could do this, roll back here. This is just another way to go about doing that. And say, transform body, duplicate, create another one, done, then roll back forward. So that way you didn't have to repeat any work. You could just roll back, duplicate that body that you knew you created before. It makes another one in your tree, and then you roll forward, and then you use that one to Boolean away. So that's another method, another way to go about doing it. And we will jump forward here to cut something like that, right? Without having to like redo work. So just a tip there on roll back, duplicate, roll forward. It's another life hack to make your life a little bit easier. So we went ahead and created this guy. And I like how they went about this one here. They went ahead and did an extrude like that to cut it in a separate direction. So they extruded from one direction, extruded from another. There's a bunch of different ways of going about that as well. Here we go. We added some fillets, some dress up stuff. And let's just go forward a few more steps. So here we went ahead and we cut out these as one. Then they went ahead and modeled in this, modeled in that. And then let's jump forward a few more steps. Adding some ribs, and then we're going to mirror that across as well. And a Boolean merge it in. Perfect. And then now, I think, let's just jump, and then we cut through a hex piece there. Let's just hide the solid and show here. We just cut that hex piece in where there's a bolt that can go through. Now, we are going to jump into the next phase. All right, so now we went ahead and did a loft on the inner surface here. Extend it. And then let's check what they do next here. Another loft on the other side with an extend. All right. So we come here. Looks like we fit a whenever you see a sketch like that and then a fill face, what they did is they used a wizard, most likely right here. If you come over to surface primitive and you just select a mesh and you say fit a surface, like you can do that. The way that happens is like if I just fit this right here, just got to go back to the Polygonian. There we go. And if I just come over, select that and fit a plane. This is another way to do it. I could just fit a plane normal to that, and then I can sketch on that plane, draw a rectangle on that plane. Then when I get out of it, you can say fill face to that sketch. You see that? So that's how those happen. So I just wanted to lay out that that's a way that you can create a surface very easily, just drawing a rectangle and say fill face. That's a method. Because they utilized it here, I went ahead and just showed, sometimes people do it that way. So you see here, we went ahead and drew these two. We'll see where they're going here. Sometimes you just take a few steps. And we use those to trim those back. And then they're going to loft between those two. So I turn this on here. So what they're doing is, you see this, they're modeling this inside here. Then they're going to, of course, sew it together into one. Now, create an extruded surface up here. Just see where they drew. They went on the inside of that top there. They're going to go ahead and extend that other one so it intersects with it. Trim it together. Then they're going to do a full face fillet. So you're basically telling it, do a fillet from here to there, all the way around to make it a full round between the two. So let's open that up so you can see it. I like full face fillet. When you can get them to work, I like them to work. Every CAD software does them differently. Every CAD software has different challenges associated with fillets, right? Some do it better than others. Some just have different quirks to how they want their fillets to work. But you see how with a full face fillet, you said, I want it to just make it a full round from here to there, and you select your left, center, right, and then it creates a full round between it. So that when it works right, it works great. Now they're doing a surface offset 0, which is just like doing a duplicate body, which by the way we added now. So create a copy of a solid or surface body. So you're going to see a lot less of these because this came out in the last version. So you can say, I want to duplicate this body, and you see you have a duplicated body. Now we officially don't have to use transform body. Will do it as well. See, it was always just like a life hack. Here, duplicate and then don't move it. Basically, was the way you would do that with transform body, or you would do a surface offset 0, and it just wouldn't move it. So really cool new functionality that I totally forgot that we had was new, but is really neat that we actually have duplicate body here now. All right, so now you see that we created a solid. We did it from the inside out. We modeled on the inside of this piece. And now we're going to start hacking it away. So now we're going to do another offset. So now we have a surface body. Let's just scroll back up here and show. So we got this guy. We duplicated that. So we have an internal and an external surface body to work with as tools. And let's scroll forward. So we extruded this overall outer shape of the entire component. We extruded that and cut it away. Now we just keep on rolling. So now we went ahead and created the pin. Now we're going to work on the knob there. Fillet that. Surface offset 0. Oh, we did a 3mm offset. Let's see here what we do with that. Oh yeah, what we basically did is just created another tool to then use to cut this. So we offset it 3mm. So we offset it from here outwards 3mm. So that way we had another tool to cut with for this instead of using our. So we had an inner, outer, and then an offset even further, right? Because we have this going on, right? We have different layers. We have this surface, the inner surface, then the outer surface, and then the offset surface from that. So now we'll just turn that on. So you see that's where we went, how we created it. And we're going to do the same thing again down here. So we'll just hide the mesh. And everything's turned on. We'll just keep going here. What we did there is we separated this from that. Right there. And now, let's see where we go with this. Mesh fit. Delete face. So if we remember, we can go open this up and see where we're at, what happened here. So we went ahead and we took this and we're doing a delete face of that. Now it looks like we're going to do a sketch and trim it. I'm going to trim this piece and then loft in between, sew it, So we went ahead and extended, and now we are extruding this piece. That's going to be that bottom rib. And we just made a new tool because with this one, apparently, it's not just the outer and inner. It like has part of the inner and part of the outer to create that shape. So we had to like loft and create a new tool there. And then trim it up. So now if we turn that off and turn our solid on, see that. Now we're offsetting that because again it has a rib as well. So you see that how it's got a step. And then cut it down. And let's turn the mesh off there. Just see where that, oh yeah, down here we just applied the fillet. So that's the way, like I just go ahead and open it to find it sometimes if it's not obvious. So we used emboss with this one. So if we open it, basically this is a really neat tool. So with emboss, we drew the sketch, we selected the surface and said to emboss at a certain height. And then hit OK and look at what it does. So let's just do that real quick here on another surface just to show how that works. We'll do it right here as well. We'll find that plane right there, and we'll turn all the planes on. I know it'll bother some of our users out there that don't like showing the planes all the time. That's just a comment that I received once. I think it's funny to mess with people. But so here we go. I'll go ahead and we'll do another slot. And I'm not trying to do this all professional here. I'm just trying to show how we can do it. So we go ahead and we create that sketch on that plane. And now we're going to go emboss it. So to emboss it, I come over to the emboss tool right here. I select my profile, my target. And do I want to offset it, translate, choose other? Oops. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so let's just clear my target and select this again. There we go. Let's just start basic here. Where I hit that, and I'm gonna, oh yeah, I need to turn off choose other. We don't want to mess it up here. We're going to make a, let's do like a 3mm depth. Okay. And check that out. So it's going to go down. Really what's going on is it's going to project this down to that surface and then offset outwards in that direction. So now that we created it, let's go ahead and scroll through the scroll through the history tree a lot. So now I'm going to change the settings and I'm going to say translated instead. Actually, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do offset the profile direction. So from here, and it'll do it the other direction here. Yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to do. And while you're in here, I'll just hit F1. So instead of going through every option of this, I'll just show how you can emboss. And this works great with the text tool, right? You could draw text and emboss it on the surface, as this shows here. But you see how you can set it based on a depth. And you see here how you can do pad or pocket. So that's up here if I wanted to extrude it in or out. This just helps definitely show. Now this is really cool. I actually haven't done this before. This is really neat where you can say translate the top of the surface of an embossed feature from a target. So you can say which direction as a separate direction there. So maybe in a future one, I'll do this one here, where I could say choose other and then like have a different surface or something. But I really think these two, face normal, profile, are the ones that everybody's going to use the most, or maybe even a custom direction. If you just set a custom direction like this, these are the most common, I would imagine. Or even adding draft is kind of cool. But that is the emboss tool. So for some people, that could save you a lot of time if you did not know that we had the emboss tool over here in the tree. I figured we would go over something like that. And let me just delete it just so I don't mess up my tree and accidentally create some sort of history that will throw it off. But the emboss tool is really neat, and I figured it was a good moment to stop and show something like that, because I don't think I've really taught the emboss tool in quite a long time. So, neat little function there. Here we're going ahead and drawing this from this direction here and extruding it and then cutting it. So let's open the cut to see what we trimmed up. There we go. Now we're going to do some surface offsets and extends and trims. Let's just check those out here. And let's just clean up our interface a smidge there and turn on this one. So we created that, trimmed this to the outside, and let's see where we go with that. And we did a cut. So we'll turn the... So you see there, we trimmed off that edge because it does have a separate direction there where it's trimmed. And we'll turn off the surfaces there. Turn on the mesh. And just keep on plugging here. I'll move a little bit faster because some of this stuff is then a little bit redundant and repetitive. So we'll pick up the pace a little more as we move along. So now we're going to work on this clamp on the side here. We're going to clamp and create these pads where you have this rubber strap that's going to go around the outside, and merge that in. And let me just open that up to see where we are. Okay, looks like we're working on the bottom there and creating these surfaces first. I have my surfaces off, so. And we will turn on some of my newer surfaces there. And trim some of those together. Just take a few steps forward. And turn the surfaces off so you can see. All right, so it looks like we're cutting that pocket away here. I'll just turn some of these off, so cut that next. We're just doing some slicing and dicing. Okay, we cut that in with the rest of this tool. So we're building out a part that's going to then be merged in, I believe, here, if I remember right. And now we'll just jump forward some trims and trims. So we went ahead and we created this piece as a separate piece and then booleaned it in with the rest of it. Now we're going to add some fillets on there. And then we'll just double click on that to see what that is. Oh, we went ahead and took that piece as well and booleaned it in. Created some pieces here and booleaned them all in. And let me just double click that. Now we're going to create the strap. So we extruded a piece for the strap, and then now we're going to trim it back with a separate. So there we created the beginnings of the strap. We cut away. We'll just turn the mesh on so we can see there. We cut away. Rotate to the other side here. We cut that away. We're going to model that separate. Go ahead and apply fillets to that. Constant fillets there. That was on the other side. I wanted to see this side. Another full face. There we go. We did another one. Successfully. And then here we go ahead and we drew, it looks like we thickened that one. So let me just, we basically just took a surface and thickened that into this piece, and then we did a full face. All right, we got 3 full face fillets successfully completed in this one. So you see that right there? And let's see how they go about this one here. Oh, surface offset 0. Cut it. And then here we'll jump forward. We did an extrude there, merge it all together. So hide the mesh there. So surface offset 0. We thicken that, added this. Now, dress up stuff. We fill it everywhere we need it. And let me see here. Oh, we went ahead and added this little horseshoe piece here. We'll open that so you can kind of see the bits and pieces. So we extruded a horseshoe shape, and then extruded from the side, and we're going to intersect those to create this. And then let's see here. Go ahead and Boolean all that together, fillet it all up. Now we went ahead and extruded this piece down here and this piece right there. And we're going to linear pattern this piece up. So let's turn the mesh on so you can see. Linear pattern that up and apply the fillets to it. Looks good to me. Now we are on the home stretch. Applying some fillets there to the horseshoe. Now, the transform. Let's see what the transform is. Let's just open it because I didn't recognize what was moving. Okay, looks like we aligned that, realigned it to the plane in the vector. So maybe they modeled it a little bit off and I didn't notice. So they realigned that piece. And then we Booleaned pieces together, which all of those components. Now let's see what we move again. Oh, they tweaked it. So it looks like the model of this, we'll turn the scan data on. Look at the scan data was tweaked just a little bit. So we moved it. We're going to roll forward. And I want to see where this replace face is, what they had to do there. So I'm going to turn the... Okay, so this interface right here, they did a replace face because that other component right here, they went ahead and replaced the face with that, so that way they were coincident. Because they moved it, right? So they did a replace face and made it so this face is coincident with that one, and it can actually rotate. And let's just get everything back to normal here. And zoom to fit. So Control F, zoom to fit, or you can use your views up here. All right, so now jump forward. Just check on some of my Booleans where we went there. We basically Boolean all of that together. We rotate this about that axis here using transform. So they did a rotate about that axis there. And then let's see what else here. So they basically have here two different lengths here. Let's turn on the mesh. Two different models. So they must have wanted to create a separate design with a different length, I guess. There we go. So there's that one or that one. And we can see that if we come in here. Did they just duplicate it? Oh, no. They did a scale, an uneven scale. So in Translate, they select the scale, and only in the Y, they scaled one up longer to modify that design. And here, this transform, I just want to double check that too. Oh, then they go ahead and move the buckle. So to match the second model. So like if you were going to model more than one, to fit more than one rod, you see how you can actually just make a separate version without having to remodel the entire thing. You can use certain parts of it in scale and stuff. Just wanted to see that. Oh yeah, so for the other model, they then move the other piece. And then let's see this one here. Yeah. Now we'll go ahead and Boolean everything together and fillet it and go to the end. And then they went ahead and added a bottom bracket, which I do not believe was even scanned right here. So they were able to take what was there and model a separate component there. So now they have this model, which is a scaled up version, and that one, and then that other design. So this has been our first RE Lab of 2026, and we thank you for joining us, and look forward to us continuing on what I'm coining as Season 3 of the RE Lab. And thanks a lot for joining us, and I will jump back over to the PowerPoint to take us out. I hope everyone has been enjoying the RE Lab webinar, and I'm always striving to make it better and gather input from a variety of sources. And I had the idea to create a survey and put out a survey just asking for feedback. Mainly the feedback is just to gather data points on the topics, the applications, and if there are any other ideas of applications that people might like us to focus on, and just kind of get the pulse of what you guys like to see, what you like to hear. So this is a very open forum. It asks for some feedback and suggestions, and we'll go through those and implement those. So if you have any proposed topics or things that you might want to learn about DesignX, then go ahead and scan this QR code. It takes you straight to a form, and we will take that and implement it.